So we're back with the Creatures of the Night podcast. It's been a while, like we always say in every episode.
The
But I'm
usual
not
3 month hiatus.
I mean, that's how we do it, baby. We're very laid back. Whenever we're good,
Yeah.
we're good. If you're waiting on us on weekly
If you're waiting
content,
for
it can't
day-to-day
happen.
content, forget it.
And I got my co-host, like always, David. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing fine.
We tend to do these giant recaps because there's been so much time. But now we're getting close to what I would say it's a Creatures of the Night prime time. It's getting closer to Halloween, so this is when the content starts to really come in. So this is one of a couple podcasts and a Halloween special that we plan on doing. So today is going to be more of a
Recap.
hodgepodge of random shit that we've been doing and what we've been seeing and just shooting the shit. So I know what's on your mind because you've been heckling me for a while to go see this shit. And I've been putting it away because I didn't want to see it.
Yeah,
And then
man,
I finally gave in and I said, all right, I'm going to watch it.
I've been dying to know what you thought. That's it. That's really it. Because I know you can agree that we're both big Indiana Jones fans, right?
Yeah, of course. How can you not be? We're fucking 80s kids. We grew up with
in the
Indiana Jones.
80s. We watched those movies. And then in 2008, when the part 4 was going to come along,
Heartbreak.
we were very excited and then we were disappointed. And then what happens? Disney takes over. Star Wars becomes what it is now, among other things.
That's a whole
And
other
make
topic.
another Indiana Jones. So all we can do is hope for the best. And I guess that's what I was doing about, I mean, nothing new here, but about a month before, which I think was a big mistake. They premiered the movie at Cannes. So
Yeah.
that's when all that bad buzz started coming in. And yeah, we talked about it and we were like, shit, we were like, it's probably true. Let's see what we get. So
Okay.
I saw it maybe 1 or 2 days after it came out. My initial reaction was I enjoyed it. I had a good time. But I saw it in the theater with my family. You know what I mean? It's different than just, I got to watch this. Let's watch it.
Right.
But it's been a couple months and time has passed and I feel a little bit different than I did initially.
Oh, interesting. See, for me, I've only seen it once and it's fresh on my mind.
Very
I
recently.
literally saw it last week.
Yeah, I'm just saying I have different thoughts about it. So I know you usually ask me questions, but I guess the first question I have is, what was your initial reaction? Because I was surprised when you watch it. You text me and I was like, oh shit, he's actually watching it? So what was your initial reaction after you watched it?
After credits rolled?
Yeah, after credits. I don't think there was anything in the credits, but after credits rolled, I guess basically did you like it or no? I guess that's where to start.
So much to your chagrin, because I think I know what you think I'm gonna go. But
I don't know, honestly. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so I enjoyed it.
Okay, good.
Okay. I didn't think you were gonna say that. I think I'm throwing
I didn't
you
think you were gonna. I didn't think you were gonna say that either.
I had my my tinfoil hat on, and I was getting ready to write like 10,000 notes on how much I hated
watch it like
shit.
this, I'm ready to piss off.
Yeah, biting my lip the whole fucking time. Okay, it's not perfect by any means. It's not at any level caliber at the original trilogy.
No.
So right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that it doesn't belong in those tiers.
I agree.
After the shit that was Crystal Skull, I guess this is what happens. It's almost like taking a giant swig of mouthwash, and anything that's better is going to feel like it's that much better compared to that.
Exactly. And I think that's what helped the movie is the fact of the last one.
The first 15 minutes felt like what should have been the Fugitive sequel to me.
15 minutes or was it something old?
I'm watching this the whole time and I'm like, this feels like the Fugitive. Motherfucker's on the run from
Oh yeah, when he's old already though, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah, that part. Because the first 15
not the little flashback, like when
okay. I agree with you. It was like the Fugitive. He even acted the same way. He got the phone. He was all like,
Yeah, he's just like trying to get away, and I was like, this would have made a good fugitive. This semi plot here, I'm like, this would have been a good sequel to the fugitive if he wouldn't have gotten away with it.
But later on, we talk about what I didn't like. They kind of threw all that shit out the window, though. The whole subplot about the murder. It kind of disappears from the rest of the movie.
You're talking
Even the
about
ending. No, I'm talking about Indiana Jones. Like the whole murder thing, kind of like when he wakes up, everything's okay, apparently. They never refer to it again. But we'll talk about that later
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Like I
I
said,
didn't even think about it, right? I didn't think
but
about it either right
the
away.
plot itself really is not good. It's not like it's a great idea. It's really kind of like it feels like a bunch of like mini ideas from past books or games or whatever that they just kind of like threw
Mashed
together.
together.
I have a lot of thoughts about this movie, David, because like I said, I've only seen it once and I just saw it last week and I purposely waited to let it marinate. I took notes
Yeah,
and I was
that's why I
thinking
didn't
about
ask you. I wanted to know. I wanted to have a genuine. I didn't
okay, the villain.
I guess start. Okay, villain.
Okay, so let's start with like the villain. I love him as an actor. I feel like he made a very he literally was a weak villain. Very stupid and fumbling, to be honest with you. For a guy who like was a mastermind in the Nazi heyday of Hitler, who was kind of like a semi were they going for him being kind of like a hybrid of like a Braun, the guy who like the Nazi guy who like made NASA
I think so.
type of thing? He makes a lot of stupid choices, and he honestly has a bad like.
Bad death.
He has like I'm watching this movie and I'm like he's menacing at some points, and
He
at other
looks good. I agree with
he
you.
looks good.
He's a good
But
actor. He looks good as a bad guy. He was a James Bond bad guy also.
yes, he was in
So
the
was
very
a bad
first
guy
one. Yeah,
in Casino Royale. But I agree with you. For a rocket scientist, he forgot continental drift.
Continental drift. Yeah, you would think that math and like would be like one of his strengths, and it's like not only that, the people he surrounds with him, like he just gets a bunch of buffoon henchmen. Okay,
Yeah. What's
surround him.
Narcos guy.
Yeah, and it feels to me like he got so easily bamboozled, and the way he died was so like unceremonious, that I was like, really? I think
That's
even
true. Of all the Indiana Jones bad guys, right? We have to compare. He looked good, but if you think about it, exactly, his plan was really stupid. If only that they built on that he was obsessed with the Hitler thing and that it kind of overshadowed him, then maybe you would buy it that he just needed to do it.
I honestly feel like he needed more screen time. He's too good of an actor,
Yes.
and he needed more evolving of the character, because how did he survive that train accident? They never fucking touched up on
So
that.
that was a big one. That shot of him getting
his head
hit
got smashed.
They shouldn't have showed that. It was too like no way you could survive. It should have been like Indiana Jones jumps over and you hear a dung and he's gone. And then you don't know exactly how he got hit. You know what I mean?
You accept it because it's so early in the movie that you're like, they're gonna get to that eventually.
I thought that the time travel, I thought that he was the reason he's fine is that he time traveled, but they didn't do that. That's what I thought. And then he didn't have a scar, really. So I was like, what's going on? Yeah, that was a big.
That motherfucker got smashed. He better have more than a scar, and you better have splaining to do, because I don't get it. The whole time I'm getting to the end of the movie and I'm like, they're still not going to explain how he's alive? We're running out of time. How is this motherfucker alive? And they never really said anything. I'm like, did a whole chunk of movie get cut out?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. I think that shot they used of him getting hit, they liked it and they used it, even though you would die from it.
That's the first thing that I was like, this is a huge, after the movie ended, the first thing in my head was like, did I miss something? Did I go to the bathroom? They never explained how he survived getting killed in Nazi Germany. How did he show up in New York and they never said anything. Like that blew my mind. I was like, yo, that's a huge plot hole. That's a big fuck
No, I
up.
know,
That's
of course.
shit that I don't understand
I
when they're
mean,
sitting there.
not only
We gotta explain this.
you know how getting hit in the face is bad. He got hit by a moving train, and then he survived the fall. He has to fall off the train,
He
die
flew.
from that.
Yeah, you know, whatever.
And they were by a station, so he probably fell on wood and shit. You know what I mean?
Okay, so like I said, I liked it. I didn't say I loved it. I just thought it was surprisingly better than what I thought it was gonna be.
You want to go like chunk by chunk, not chunk, but like the ending. I want to know what you think about the ending because that's a big part of the movie. But
like the how it ends.
okay, like the big intro, the big we're gonna Indiana Jones doing shit we never seen before, and he's artificial. What did you think about that? Because it doesn't always look good.
It does not look good. Like people were like, "Oh man, the de aging was good."
No, but there's some parts.
The only time, yeah,
some parts
there
are
were
good.
some scenes that were like, "Damn, that looks good."
Like when he's walking through like the soldiers and he's eating, like it was a little ambitious.
Right, right.
But the close-ups were bad. He's like, "Ugh." I was like, what's going on?
Dude, it took me out so many times that I was like, why were people raving about this shit? Like, I'm like, I feel like
Too much though. They did too much. They should have. He was a big part of that scene.
they should have kept him more in darker lighting to hide it a little bit better.
And only show him a couple times. Yeah.
I was like, I was super surprised how long that beginning part of the movie with the Flash was. I thought it was gonna be like pretty much what I saw in the trailer. I'm like, that's gonna be it.
Yeah, like 8 minutes. No, it was 25 minutes long.
It was a lot, and it kept going, and I'm like, it gets to the point where it felt like I was watching a CGI film. Like I was like, this is all fake. This is not.
Yeah.
Hanging from the rope, like all that shit. I'm like, it could have all been CGI. It was CGI bomb, explosion, CGI Nazis falling through the hole, things going. I'm like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of that
made an Indiana Jones animated film at that point. It would have been cool as fuck. Actually, I'm on board with that. That's a good idea, actually. Instead of doing like a spin-off with a new character or like something else, take a note from that Spielberg Tintin film. Have you ever seen it?
Of course. It's already old. That movie's like 12 years old.
That movie was fucking fantastic. It could have been
great. It looks real. It looks real.
Which, by the way, how the fuck does Spielberg do that? And then he does Crystal Skull. What the fuck happened?
No, yeah, of course. Because the movie looks real, but it's a little bit cartoony on purpose. But that sequence when they're that big chase scene,
the city with a tank.
Yeah, they it looks like it kind of was like the Indiana Jones movie, but better.
Because it has like the new age camera following techniques and
and this one had that whole chase scene, which I think is probably the best action scene in the movie. The scene with the little trucks. And a lot of that looked real. I mean, some of it didn't, but a lot of it looked like that reminded me a little bit of Tintin.
Yeah,
and it reminded me of Octopussy, the Indiana Jones movie. There's a whole chase through India in those little things.
Yeah. Okay. The little pills of nostalgia that they like to feed us with the classic characters. I love that Salah's in it.
Yeah.
I hate that it feels like they got Salah for a day.
Yeah, he's like in 3 scenes.
Them throughout the movie. I'm like, sorry if you can hear my dog, but it's like, why not get the 2 main characters that you have left that are alive? He's already old. They're old. Let them have their last adventure together. I feel like
he would have been the sidekick. That would have been cool.
They wasted Salah. I think the whole Marion thing, bringing her just at the last fucking 5 minutes of the movie, was like a huge missed opportunity, because I think people would have loved to have seen them together in a full adventure. I think it would have been more like they would have had that whole like funny duo thing going back and forth, like kind of Temple of Doom did with the other girl, where it's just like a couple fighting and then and
But they had to write the Shia character.
but they did it. It was such a cheap write-off. All right,
I know, but I'm saying like I don't think they would be fun together after that. It would have been all talking about Shia. Unless you have Shia in it. You know, we can go all the way back to the beginning.
I don't know if you would have done it.
I thought for a second when he came back at the end, I didn't think about it enough because it was only a couple seconds. I thought, oh, she's gonna bring him back slightly a different time, which doesn't make sense with the way they set it up. But
I feel like that whole really dark, depressing, like downer of a side note story that they had about him dying at war, and that's why the relationship fell apart. I was like, if this is his last movie, why put such a downer in there to make him more human? It's Indiana Jones. We don't need to make him more human.
He's there's a lot of downers in it. That's what I feel about it now. Because when I think about it now, the movie makes me sad. It's sad.
Okay, I have something I wrote. Okay, right here. It says, it made me smile at points and it made me a little sad on others. Okay. And not in a good way. It made me sad for so many wrong ways. It made me sad because I'm watching one of my idols become very old in front of my eyes. I understand people get old and I accept it. I love the fact that he's still doing it one more time. But don't make me feel bad for him. Make me feel good about seeing Indiana Jones one last time. Don't make him that old guy that they're trying to. By the way, the whole retirement thing in the college, in the university, made no fucking sense. They didn't even tell him that he was retiring. He didn't even know it was going to happen. They just kind of were like, "Oh, hey, you're retired. Here's a cake. Bye."
Well, it didn't make sense because he had the party and then he was still teaching.
And he didn't even know that they were bringing him in for a retirement party. It was very weird.
I didn't catch that he didn't know. I felt that it was a surprise, but
no, they called him in. He walks into that little like
but he retired. They have that scene, and then he's teaching.
David, there's parts of this movie that feel like they belong to a longer cut of things that made more sense. Cappy, relax. And it just, there's a lot of stuff that you're like, do they think that people are stupid and they're not going to ask these questions? Like, how did the guy get smashed in the head and he's alive now and they never explain it? Why is a professor that has been teaching for decades and he's world renowned for being a guy who brings all these amazing artifacts back to the museums in the United States?
Yeah, and they treat him
just brushing him aside to retire. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I feel like this movie should have been written in a way to glorify an amazing life an old man has had and the things that he sacrificed and did for the country during World War II and all that shit. I feel like it should have been kind of like he should have been kind of like the most interesting man in the world at like the latter
legend
of his life, you know? And it's like, I feel like everybody's like, "Oh, all right, old man, retire and go away." We're
I know, and I think it becomes meta. I think this was how the powers that be. Everyone argues, obviously, Lucas and Spielberg were not involved, at least to the point of making the movie, and Disney's involved. And I think they were taking subconsciously maybe a meta choice, saying, "Okay, Indiana Jones not cool anymore." For the young people, because think about anybody who was born after 9/11. Maybe they know Indiana Jones is, but they don't care.
No.
So I think that we're trying to say is like, okay, young people, even though it's wrong, even though the people that saw the movie were people our age, and then it's questionable whether you provided to the box office. Let's leave it at that. But
we did not.
but they're trying to push it to the new generation. They're like, okay, well, we have to show them why he's cool. He's just an old man. You're going to feel sorry for him. And then everyone says he's good. And then he's going to be, it just feels like very cynical way of, I hate to say it, but like the one movie that kind of did the same thing, that did it right, an anomaly was Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, where it took a franchise that was very old, didn't have sequels. It's different a little bit. Top Gun is not as revered as everyone likes it, but it's not like a great movie. You know what I'm talking about? Like we like it, but and
They
Tom
didn't
Cruise
make
still feels
they didn't
young,
make
even though he's
Tom
old.
Cruise now the old teacher that everybody makes fun of, and then he's forced to do something that he struggles to do. They made him say,
No,
"I'm
they
still
kind of
the goat. I'm still the goat, and I'm gonna outshine everybody, and I'm gonna show you training. You can't even hang with me for training."
yeah. You're right. You're right, but they did start off where, hey, we don't want you to fly. You got to be a teacher, and but they evolved from that. You know what I mean?
But those are only the people that are his
Peers.
superiors, not the young kids.
Yeah, they thought him as the old man and everything. Okay.
I,
But I'm saying, like you see in a lot of movies now, they're trying to do that. They even did it in The Flash where they brought Michael Keaton back. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I saw it.
We'll talk about that later, but they do that same thing where they bring him back. They're cool. Anyway,
I
so
mean,
at the
honestly,
point,
this whole industry right now has been for a long time in a phase of milking nostalgia to see how far they can go before they
of
have to give
course,
up on it. And I
you
think
got
it's
you
getting
got
to the point where they're hitting the wall.
you have financial successes like Star Wars, whether you like it or not. They pulled it off. Everyone was like, yeah, at the time. The Jurassic Park, they brought it back from the dead. Same shit. How many things Hocus Pocus last year? Beetlejuice is being made. You know that's gonna be. I have high hopes, but when's the last Tim Burton movie that was looked real?
That looked real.
Yeah, like that was like, wow, a good movie. What maybe what? I
Big
mean,
Fish,
Big Fish,
maybe.
that's 2005. That's a long
I
time.
know. I know.
And there was a lot of fake shit in
Wonka
the movie.
shit, the Planet of the Apes shit. It's like,
Oh, Alice in Wonderland, Dumbo.
oh god, yeah. Disneyfied that Tim Burton. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I hope to God Beetlejuice is in a fucking Disney film because forget about it.
No, I don't think it's Disney. But I don't know what's gonna happen because I don't know.
By the way, back to Indiana Jones. Now
Yeah.
that
Well,
he's hot again, why the fuck couldn't they ever bring Short Round back? That shit pisses me off. Why do they have to invent a new
I
short
know.
round?
I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot because Key
Yeah.
back and he won the Oscar and he was, but all that shit was before they made the movie because remember they started shooting that movie 2 years ago. I remember seeing the photos of it.
Doesn't matter that he just won an Oscar.
Yeah, they could have brought him back and blue
They
screen
should
it
bring
in.
him back. If it's the last hurrah, don't you want to bring like all the things that made the other film special back in one? Like I said, you wasted Salah, you wasted Marion. Dude, he even referenced Temple of Doom in this, which is the first time I think they've ever referenced a past film, by the way. I can't remember of
No,
any
no, no,
other.
no, no, no. The first time they referenced Temple of Doom, they always reference Raiders. They referenced it in part 3. He sees a picture in the cave and she goes, "What is that?" He goes, "That's the Lost Ark." She goes, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Pretty sure." And they play the Raiders theme. And in the last one, they show the Ark in the box that explodes.
Oh, bro, I don't remember shit about the last one, so that doesn't even count.
Oh yeah, he drives through it. There's a shot where he drives through it and the box breaks and it's the Ark comes out of the box and it's still there.
Hey,
Yeah. So
sorry.
you haven't seen, when's the last time you saw part 4?
Years, bro.
Oh, we should do that for fun as a side thing. But I bet you it's not gonna be as bad as you remember. And the fact that he's younger. Anyway, so
Yeah.
we're at the point where like the plot starts. What did you think about the obligatory scene when he starts talking about the thing from the movie? There's always the scene when he's talking to the army guys about the staff of Ra, and then part 2, he has the whole scene with the Rock talking to them, and part 3 with the Grail. They have the whole scene where they set up the whole battle of Syracuse.
Yes.
Remember? And then
Yes.
they introduce Phoebe Waller-Bridge, which was a big deal in the shit talking. What did you think about her after watching it?
She didn't bother me.
Me
She
either.
didn't bother me at all. I mean, if you're trying to have an agenda to make her the next thing, then I'll be like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. Nobody's gonna give a fuck about it.
Yeah, if they try to do that, they failed because I didn't see that. Obviously, there's, they're bickering. It's always been a bickering thing, They're not going to get along.
I liked her because I used to watch with Dina her old show called Dirtbag.
Fleabag, right?
Oh, Fleabag, sorry.
Fleabag. Yeah, okay.
So I liked her style. So and she honestly didn't do anything to annoy me. She didn't do anything ridiculous. Could you hear my dog going nuts? I'm sorry, but let me.
You can about that's fine with me. If it bothers you, if you go to the bottom of the settings, you can't in audio settings, you can go to high and maybe it will suppress him. Audio settings and then
let me just put him over there for a minute.
Okay, no problem.
He's just going nuts. I don't know what the hell's wrong with him. Come on. What's wrong? He's an old timer now, you know? Okay. Cut that part out. I do like how the camera follows me though. It's pretty cool.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, the Phoebe character. I mean, I find you okay. What bothers me more is her father's character.
Okay.
I hate when all of a sudden there's like a best friend that you've never heard of in 100 movies, and he's been there for all this shit, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I had this guy who was like with me this whole time.
And they even have that flashback where he's older but still young. I thought that looked good. Where he had like the salt and pepper hair. There was a scene where he's like,
oh yes, yeah.
You know, like the fugitive. He looked like the fugitive era.
Yes.
Like a Clear and Present Danger era. That scene was good too. But yeah, I understand. Like all of a sudden he has a friend. It's like, wait, we never heard of him. Yeah,
I hate movies try to shoehorn that in.
Redcon something.
Exactly what it is. They got to retcon why he has a goddaughter. Why is this so important in his life now that she's gonna come now for like this huge plot device? And it's like, that's what I say. That's horrendous fucking writing, you know, which I'm used to by now because God. In every year, it seems like there's less and less quality movies to like be like that was a great film, well written, well. It's usually shit like this. It's like,
yeah, it's usually it looked really good, but I wasn't engaged in it. There's no Fight Clubs anymore. You know, no those movies like that.
Like there was a, like I said, she doesn't bother me. I thought she was actually fine, and she brought something to the film and some kind of like I told you, I feel like. It should have been Marion taking up her space, and then and yeah, and then well, I mean, she had a short round, so it could have been Marion.
No, yeah. The thing with this,
why not?
The thing with this movie is how far do you go back? Because if they started before, writing wise, I think it would have been better to have short round as his godson, and he comes in and then they all together. But of course, they didn't know what was going to happen. They should have blue screened short round and have him come in at the end with the groceries. That's something to live for.
It's kind of like the Lord of the Rings ending where Frodo's in the bed and everybody's coming in.
There was a good scene where I got teary-eyed. Harrison Ford does good in that scene. It's too sad where she's like, you had to come back. You had to be here. And he goes, for who?
Yes, I know.
It's very quiet. And I thought the movie was going to end that way. I was like, what's going on? Like the ending of the movie was good in the fact where I didn't expect it to end that way, and I was like, "What's gonna happen?"
And it was at least
how are they gonna end it?
It was a positive, upbeat thing at the end.
Yes, but it feels like those season finales where you know it's ending. You're like, it's gonna end. What are they gonna do in 5 minutes? How are they gonna wrap it up? It felt like that. You know, the movie's ending. You're like, what are they gonna do? I'm not 100% satisfied.
Yeah.
They're not going to bring anybody from the dead. They bring back Marion. That was cool. I liked the scene where they redo the part 1 with the kissing.
Yes.
That was good. We had just saw part 1 in the theater, so my wife and everyone she was so into it. She's like, "Oh, we all got it."
I'm watching it. I'm watching that scene unravel and I'm like, is she going to say it hurts here? And she did it and I was like, "Oh, that was nice."
They flipped it. They flipped it that she was the one doing it.
Um, but she actually, I've heard that she is angry that that's the minimal role they gave her, only to show up
Alice?
at the end. Yeah, and I don't blame her. I
Yeah, I
mean,
don't blame her either. I mean, they even had, I don't know if you caught it, but in that same scene, I didn't catch it right away. When Salah comes in, he's talking about part one. Did you hear him?
what was he saying?
She comes in first, then he comes in, he's like, and then Indy and Mary were running away from the plane, and
Oh
they
yes, yes,
exploded. And he's like,
yes,
and then when he walks away, he sings, I am the monarch of the sea. He starts singing the song from part one to get
yes.
you in that headspace. That was good.
He's so fucking good. That's why I'm like, we needed him to be there because he's kind of like he's kind of like the heart left of the past characters of
Yeah,
the
because
whole
Marcus is
franchise. Like
dead,
Soul, you
Sean
know?
Connery is dead. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
and then like I like little nuggets. I like the idea that Indiana Jones got his family back in. I like those little ideas.
Mm-hmm.
That he's a cab driver. I buy that. How did he know where he was and he showed up? When we watched the movie, you're like Salah, but you're like, how the fuck did he know? Did he call him?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Does he follow him? There was no scene where he's still talking to Salah. You know what I mean? If there was a scene where he checked his messages and it's Salah saying, "Hey, you haven't been around a couple of days. Are you bummed because you're retiring?"
Yes, yes, yes.
Like stupid dork writer shit that you will be like, okay, that makes sense. Now, okay, now I like the idea of it being 1969 and the space race, but I feel like they don't do enough with it. Do you agree?
Oh, it serves as nothing more
I
but a
thought it was going to be a whole thing where they're stopping a spaceship from leaving. I'm like, oh, this is going to be good, and he's going to bump into the astronauts, and he. Okay, what about that big action scene in the trailer, the True Lies scene when he's on the horse, and there's a lot of manipulation.
yeah.
Fun, right? It was
No,
fun.
no, no. I honestly I had fun with it. It felt like a ride. The
Yeah, it
way we
felt like
followed on the camera and everything, it felt like a ride through vintage New York and the
I like the way it looked. All that there was a lot of CG 69. It felt. I know what you mean. It felt fun, but it didn't feel real. It felt kind of like an alternate. It felt fake. You know?
oh no, for sure.
It felt
It
fake.
felt like a Tintin movie. It felt like it should have been all
Yeah,
animated. It was like I liked it, but I was like,
it's
it's
like a
not
better.
believable. He's an old man. He's
Yeah,
not
it
to
felt
do
like
all that.
a Sky Captain. It just looked a little bit better. You know it's not real. He wasn't really there.
Everything has like a fuzzy, out of focusy haze because there's
It
so
does.
much
It has like
CG
that
work, you
blur.
know, and it's
They
like,
had all the little things on it. And then the thing about the
yeah,
movie is, I think why it looks so weird is that a lot of those scenes they filmed. Remember those photos of them filming that whole parade scene, but they have to change the background and add the things.
oh yeah,
So
and they multiply the crowd and all that
it
shit.
has
So
what they call it the Hobbit look. Remember the Hobbit,
yeah,
where technically the effects are better than Lord of the Rings, but it just doesn't look right. It looks too everything is fake versus
it has a sheen to it and a
yeah.
lighting to it that just it's not real. It's like
Yeah, they color graded. They probably made, oh, this is the 1960s look to make it look like a 60s film. And it doesn't
exactly.
work. You know what I mean? Like I hate when they use digital cameras and they film a war movie. It doesn't look right,
It
right?
doesn't. It needs that grain and grittiness.
It needs to look like Band of Brothers,
Yeah.
use a film camera.
Even those were shot in digital. Is just that they know how
No,
to
no,
grade
not
it
Saving Private
correctly.
Ryan.
No, not Private Ryan. Band of Brothers.
No, no, that was still film.
Was it really?
Oh yeah, that was 2001 HBO. They were not shooting digital. Only like Star Wars was shooting digital at that point.
I mean, they did a lot of CG work in Band of Brothers. All the
No,
airplane.
he
Oh
used
no,
the
no.
whole
You know
thing.
why? I'm thinking about the Pacific.
Maybe that was digital.
I was thinking of the Pacific. Yeah,
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 that
yeah,
was 10 years later. But
yeah.
Warner Brothers, he used the same team as St. Private Ryan.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
was like
yeah,
a
yeah.
couple years
Makes
after.
sense. Makes sense.
All the budget went to that. There was no like big actors in it, really.
No.
Except what the guy from Friend, David Schwimmer, in the first episode.
And
There
Burger
was no
from
real
Sex and the
actors. Now
City.
they're famous, but
The guy from Office Space.
yeah, all those people that were nobody back then.
Yeah.
Tons of people in that movie, in that show. Sorry, it looks like a movie.
We're jumping ship here
Yeah.
now.
Okay, so you introduced the dial. Did you like in the beginning they have the Constantine thing. They have the spear that stabbed Christ. I like that little thing.
But it was pointless.
It was point. Yeah, but it's like all the Indiana Jones movies always have a thing in the beginning. Remember
Yeah, I
the
know.
cross. So I think that was their version of he was getting even
One thing
he
that
didn't
led to
want
another.
it. Yeah, everything is wrong when you put it under a microscope because he didn't even want the cross. We're shown the cross, and the cross leads to him knowing that the dial is there. It's all this. It's convoluted. You like that word, convoluted,
Convoluted.
and this is
It's a,
convoluted. You say that a lot, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, I guess it's convoluted, but this is very convoluted. It's
if like I said earlier, it feels like a lot of ideas taken from different properties, maybe even Indiana Jones
you know.
non-canon stuff, like maybe
Oh my God.
comics or books or whatever. And they were just like, that's a good idea. That's a good. But the problem is, when this is the last film, you should make the most clear story possible and let the actors be the star and be like, this is their last ride. Let's make everybody feel good about seeing these people together one more time on a great adventure. But it was like, it feels like it was like what do you call it when there's always a plot device that just takes you
MacGuffin?
to a MacGuffin. It felt like one MacGuffin after another. After it felt like I was like,
Yeah, it felt like the last Star Wars movie where they have to go somewhere and get somewhere and somewhere. It was just
yeah, but it's like at the end,
action
there's no
scene.
payoff. The villain doesn't do anything right. They get sent incorrectly back in time to the big Persian War or whatever the hell it was, and then it's like the
Yeah, it was Rome, but you're right about that. But I think it what I did like is that it does kind of follow the footsteps of all the James Bond movies. The bad guys always fuck up if you think about it.
the bad guys are always going to fuck up. I understand
They
that.
always kill themselves. So he technically killed themselves, but hey,
Okay, I tell you one thing though. Hey, buddy,
Hi.
how you doing?
Good.
Did you like Indiana Jones?
Yes, I did.
he did,
Okay.
he liked it.
You know what I did feel like it was kind of cool is when they got shot back to the past. How it takes a second to realize that they fucked up. And it's that whole cool like point of view of a war going on and they're on an airplane
Yeah, first you think it's naval ships, World War II, and then you
and
realize
they're showing you everything he was talking about in his classroom. It had
yeah,
the claws that were whipping the ships and it had like the sunbeam to burn the ships. It was all happening in that war. Remember, he's talking about that in the class,
oh yeah, of course he set up everything in that first scene.
and everything is happening there. You're like, oh, that's kind of cool the way they tied that together. I actually appreciated that. I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. It was cool to see something that was never proven, but there's tidbits in history that tell you that maybe these people had technological advancements of such possible weaponry. And then they go back in time, they fly right over a war. And to these people, it looks like it's a flying dragon.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, yeah, of course. I mean, everything he says, they became the history because in the legend there was the dragon, so they became I like that idea.
And like on the carvings, it had like
Propellers.
had propellers on it, and it's it makes sense why. But my whole other
The
giant,
detail. Did you notice the
the
detail?
huh?
You saw it once, but when you watch it again, the propellers that are on the sarcophagus are dented, just like they were in
Oh,
the
because of
cloud.
the plane crashed, and that's how they
Yeah,
looked.
it's the same
Yeah.
propellers. They're twisted.
But my whole thing is, if they
Hey, by Fedem.
saw that in the past, all the things that went down in that war, okay, a flying vehicle shows up, and all these weird men in strange clothing, all the bodies are there in the past. Wouldn't there be a lot of more questions like historically speaking, they would find relics from World War II way outdated before World War II in a different part of the world. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah, I mean, they did fixate on the watch,
okay, yes.
but I guess other parts of the plane. I mean, I guess over time, yeah, you're right. I mean, you would think there would be more of a ripple.
Not only that, it would have influenced the survivors of that war
Hold on.
and like stories that they'll talk about, like these flying creature that brought these weird people, and like I feel like it would have altered history one way or another if you go back in
Definitely would.
time in an airplane, crash landed,
Alex.
fought partially in that war. There's dead bodies before, and I think that would alter things a little bit, don't you? Stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah, it should have done it more because the bodies were there. The skeletons would have been, they would have kept them. Unless what's his name? Uh Archimedes.
Uh huh.
Unless Archimedes somehow after they left try to hide it. But why would he keep the watch? But maybe he would have
How do
buried the
you
body.
hide it when there's a war of thousands of people that survived battling it out? It's like soldiers
Well,
lived.
Yeah, but the only evidence is what the plane.
Well, yeah, the plane, the bodies, the
Exactly.
artifacts that they have, and not only that.
Hold on, give me a second. I gotta do something really quick. Give me a second. Sorry.
Okay.
My bad.
That's all right.
But anyway. But yeah, you would think there would be more. Yeah,
I mean, that's neither here or there. The whole movie is
but I guess I mean,
plot holes. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of plot holes. Okay, so they set up the story. You meet Phoebe. They go to. Did you like that whole sequence in Tangiers with the whole black market?
yeah, that was cool. I
Yeah, I
like
like the way it
that.
looked.
I actually really like the whole sequence with the boats in the ocean,
Oh, the underwater thing with the
the
sea.
underwater thing, and then them jumping on them and all that. I actually like that. Also,
Antonio Banderas for 2 seconds.
the other unrealistic thing is like they leave them behind, and they so easily found them after they escaped them and they left them dead in the water. They so easily found where they went. He's like, he had binoculars and
Oh
he
yeah,
saw
he just.
going the opposite direction, and they just knew what town they were going to be at. I was like,
Oh yeah, he follows them with the montage. They have the You notice
yeah,
how they redid the montage a little bit? It was like CG a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
That's
it's
probably where they cut some stuff out, I feel.
like just because you saw them going in the opposite direction doesn't exactly mean that you're going to know what town, what bar they're hanging out. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta go back. I don't know if they said something in a clue. I like that scene where she has like the dynamite and she's like stalling.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Where they melt
That's
the
another
rock.
thing with the bad guy being an idiot. It's like he's so easily falling for her being helping them so much. You know, he's just like in it, willy nilly. She can walk around the boat. She's helping them and giving them all this information, and it's like, dude, come on.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
least tie her hand.
In real life, they would have someone with a gun to her on the.
Yeah, or at least handcuff her, tie her hands or something.
They
Okay.
needed regarding the bad guy, they needed more scenes. I really like that scene earlier in the movie where he's like passive aggressively like talking down to the butler, the slave, the servant guy.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was a good scene, and that was a good thing of him saying like it was a good character moment where he can like
Yeah, he's kind of like making fun of him, like the side that you helped out.
yeah,
Obviously,
it's almost
you out.
like I'm pretending to be American, I'm helping the Americans, but I don't care about American ideology.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then there was another scene afterwards where he's being interviewed and he's very cold, and they needed more scenes like that for him.
Yeah, more like character development for him. Like I said, he's such a great actor. What's his name?
Michelson or something like that.
Oh no, Mars Mickelson.
Mars Mickelson, yeah.
He's so fucking good, and I'm like, let the man act. Let him be that villain. But I feel like they start with it and then they turn him into a caricature. They just like sporadically have him here and there, and he just becomes kind of like the Raiders bad guy.
He's kind of supposed to be kind of like a smart villain. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
who's like,
Tell me you thought that big Nazi, you were waiting for a fight. There was no fight.
oh, I know. That was another. They just handcuff him to underwater. He just drowns. I'm like, okay.
Kid just kills him. I felt bad for him actually, but they set up the whole thing. He's fighting him with the. There's a scene in the parade where he avoids him, and then later on he pushes him. You're like, oh, there's gonna be some sort of fight. We know he's not gonna take him, but maybe like he outsmarts him and he falls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I know.
But they didn't do that. That was a big fail, I think. You know, I mean, like James Bond, Indiana Jones, you got to have the bad guy fight, and they didn't have any of them. He didn't even fight the bad guy. He gets shot by her, and then they crash all together, and they look at each other. So you know,
he's old, man. What do you want? Can't be fighting giant Nazis, bro.
Oh yeah, but you could just he's gonna ride a horse through the subway. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess overall we kind of are in the same mindset.
Yeah, I think we're in the same mindset. So obviously,
not terrible.
It
has a lot of plot holes, but it was enjoyable.
So the whole going back in time thing, obviously, you thought it was cool. It wasn't a deal breaker.
No, it wasn't a deal breaker. I thought it was an interesting idea. I thought it was odd to go to that time. I was like, okay,
yeah.
Kind of.
I like there's a scene where he meets Archimedes. Did you see with subtitles? Because I know on Flixer you have to put them on because they're talking to each other.
Oh no, I was trying to get the subtitles to. They weren't kicking in for some reason.
Oh yeah, they're talking. You know when they're talking, he walks up to him and he tells him, "Where are you from?" And Indiana Jones says, "We're from 2,000 years from now." I had no idea I was going to meet you, and he shows him the dial on the watch, and he tells him, "You were always going to meet me." That's what he tells him. That's when they realized that the whole point of that was to come back there. That was it. It was not.
Yeah.
You couldn't go anywhere else you want. He made a time loop to come there. And then Indiana Jones, remember, he wants to stay. He's talking to him. He's like, I want to stay. And she's like, no, don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And then she kind of turned into English after that. But that's basically what was happening. He was talking to Archimedes, wanting to stay with him and learn with him. And he's like, and then she's telling him no. That reminded me, that was kind of like them trying to do the whole night thing from part 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just different, you know.
Like an old wise man.
So when he started saying, "Oh, I'm going to stay here and die," did you be like, "What the fuck?" Or you were like, "No way, they're going to do that"?
I was like, bro, they can't just leave him in the past. But I was in the back of my head, I'm like, it'd be kind of cool if he stayed in the past, and then like in modern times, you cut to modern times, and he ends up somehow in the history books.
Yeah, like Back to the Future shit.
Yeah, like he becomes like some kind of like.
But that would if say he survived because he got shot. He was shot for a long time, by the way. He got shot like the night before. Then they bring him on the plane, and he whatever.
Yeah, more plot holes.
So yeah, if he stayed, I think on the surface that would have been, oh, that's so poetic. But he would have. She even says you're gonna muck up history. He would have just fucked up everything.
Yeah, but he would have been part of history.
He would have been part of history. So
but he would have no closure for his own personal self, though. That's the whole thing. That's why, honestly, they had to bring him back, because it's like you have to fix your relationship with your wife and put that to bed and move forward with your life, or stay in the past and run away from that.
I mean, we want him to echo through history, but he probably would never be. He would be forgotten.
But like I said, if you flash forward to modern times, and you can cut to the same classroom that he would have been teaching with a different teacher talking about this guy.
Oh, yeah, the hero that saved them the night. Yeah, he would become a legend.
It would have been a legendary way to write him off.
And that probably would have been a way if another people did the movie, if it was like a Tarantino movie or indie movie or something. Now, a lot of people got upset that she punched him and brought him back. Did that upset you?
No. Why would that upset me? That's in her character. I would expect her to be pissed at him and like.
I heard a lot of people talk about. I mean, I would love to see how the fuck she carried him back into the whole process back must have been a nightmare. Because remember, it's like Back to the Future, where it doesn't teleport you somewhere else, it's wherever you are. So when they came back, they would still be in Italy.
Right.
So she would have to fly him all the way back to New York. Forget about that he's wanted for murder with the FBI, go through customs. But back then,
David,
nothing.
David, you're thinking too wrong. You're actually like it's not a plot that really cares.
He should have woken up. He should have woken up in the bed when he woke up, and he'd just be next to like something, just like it should have been just Sean Connery. Say, "Hey, boy, what's going on?"
Super CGI Connery.
He'd be like, "Dad," he's like, "Junior, remember what happened? My something happened to my house, and some bullshit there, and then it's all like a cutesy ending." They have everybody. Like Lord of the Rings ending. They have Sean Connery come back, Marcus come back.
Just a whole CGI fest going on there.
We'll just have Kalima come back. I'll come back.
He still has the heart.
Welcome, Dr. Jones. You won't. Just cut him out. Just put him in.
Yeah, they're all like force spirits.
So okay. What did you take from the last shot where they do the little
circle
and he grabs his hat? Is that them kind of pussing out saying he'll be back? Because that's what kind of feels like.
No, I feel like that's saying
he's happy again. He's got a bone.
He's happy again, and he's now back to being himself. I feel like that's what it is. It's sort of like they didn't want to physically have him right into the sunset because they did that in Last Crusade. They could have just let it be, but they wanted to make more money. So they have to show his next happy spot, which is his personal life with his wife, and that was fine. I actually liked it. I didn't mind that ending. I was like,
I thought they were going to end
happy, bro.
I thought they were going to end it like Halloween Ends, just show the hat, like the mask on the table, remember? And just put the black, don't fear the reaper.
So, yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. Not great.
Good. It wasn't great. You can't like fully like love it because there's something sad about it, right? It's like
for sure.
But by design, it can't be the same. That's the thing. And that opening scene was great. The whole thing, but also the same thing. The whole time I'm watching, I'm like, oh, it's not real. It's almost like a virtual, like a fantasy. Like
what a young
your last day.
Ford, if they would have made a fourth one right after Crusade, could have looked like and could have been.
Yeah, that was their goal. He's supposed to be like 2 or 3 years after Last Crusade. So they would have made it like in the early 90s, like fugitive era.
Yeah. So, oh well. That's gonna be it. So
that's it because it failed. It lost a lot of money.
It did. Huge bomb.
Sad to think that
Indiana Jones went with a dud.
Indiana Jones bomb because
that piece of shit Crystal Skull made a fortune.
Oh, it made a lot. It made the most of all of them. Well, time was different, but it made 800 million. And it's like we talk shit about Star Wars and Jurassic Park when they brought it back, but they all were successful. This one's like you know what I mean? It's gonna take a while for people to watch it, and people are like, "Oh, it's not so bad." No.
I don't know that CG is gonna age well.
Probably not.
So, anyways. That's it for Indiana Jones.
That's it for Indiana Jones, man. Did you see anything else? Any of the big other summer movies? In case you want to add it, did you?
I saw some here and there. Nothing I really care to talk about. I feel like I should throw in something at least horror related for the channel. But the last thing I saw was a movie from last year that I always had in the back burner and I could never get to it. And I finally said, you know what, I'm going to watch it. And I saw The Black Phone.
Oh. Black Phone. Yes, and the cover's
like crazy mask and a top hat. He looks like a magician. It takes place in the 70s.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, no, and it's like loosely inspired by John Wayne Gacy.
Okay.
It's fictional, but his character was written with that in mind because he kidnaps kids and he kills kids back at his house and he buries them in the basement. And it's
but he's not a clown or anything. They didn't do that aspect of the clown.
No. In the original script, he was going to be a clown, and they made him a magician. and he has that cool fucking mask with a top hat, and
Yes, I seen the picture.
he changes the mouth and stuff all the time. You know, it's like really cool, but beautifully shot. The cinematography is very good, very dark. The acting is out of hand. Even the kids are really fucking good. Like I was like, so you know, sometimes kids are hit or miss, and they're like maybe teenagers in this, but they were all really good. I was like, man, this fucking good acting here, and it's like disturbing. It's dirty. It's more. It's kind of like it's not a horror really. It's a sort of like loose horror slash thriller because it has fantastical aspects to it because the kid's in the basement locked up and there's a phone on the wall that doesn't work, but the dead kids are communicating to him through the phone, giving him hints on how to escape the basement. Things that they all found out. Each one found a little niche before they got killed. And if you put all those little niches together, it works for a master plan for him to actually get out. It's a really good film. Like I actually really, really thought it was one of the better horror genre films that have come out. And I know a lot of people shit on Blumhouse, but I'm a fan of Blumhouse films. I don't know about you.
I know they do a lot. I haven't seen everything they do. They do a lot. But
Yeah, they do all the Conjuring and all those types of shits, and I haven't seen them all either, but I've seen quite a few, and I like what they do. But this one, I feel like I don't know if it's didn't do as well or whatever, but I thought that they could have made the character of Ethan Hawke is called the Grabber. That's what the newspapers have the serial killer titled because he's like he snatches kids in a black van.
Okay.
And I feel like that could have been sort of like a modern day Freddy Krueger that they could have spun off. And I know they probably had it in mind because when we went to last year's Horror Nights, it was a haunted house. It was one of the houses. The Bloom house was the Black Phone. And they had the whole basement built out. You had to walk through that shit. And
maybe they'll do a part 2.
I don't think so because I don't know if it was like that popular to make him a character, but I'm pretty sure the intent was there because even the design of his face and the way his mask interchanges, that's merchandising at its best right there if it would have worked out. But it's a shame if it doesn't because I feel like it was really, really cool idea. And I highly enjoyed it. So if anybody hasn't really seen it yet and you like thrillers and
check it out.
But they might do it all in the 70s, so it's done well. So like all the clothes, the cars, the things that are happening in the film are so well done that it's like you feel like it's a 70s film. It even has like a gritty old 70s film look to it.
This vibe to it.
It does. It's very good. I enjoyed it.
Well, maybe they'll do it because those movies usually are not super expensive. Those Blumhouses.
No,
maybe this one because it's anything set in the past, they have to build everything. So, but maybe, I mean, how many years ago? It came out last year or 2 years ago?
I think it was last year. I think 2022, I believe.
It might. All those movies that come out. I don't know. Does he do the Smile one?
Sorry, 2021.
2021.
2021. Yeah.
Did Blumhouse do Smile?
Yeah, I believe so.
They do all those. Yeah.
Yeah. The
other one, A something, A14. They do more like sci-fi. A14, that's another like studio that has like cred on the internet. They're the ones that do like
but that's more like those slow burn, artsy horror.
Yeah, like Ex Machina type movies, like yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't see any of the big ones like Barbie, Oppenheimer, or any of that?
No, I haven't had time to see those. I saw like from the big movies.
Transformers.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw it. It should have just been another Michael Bay fucking one. It looks the same. They only did Bumblebee right, and they didn't learn, and they went back to being like Bay style. I'm like,
they did. It felt like they were remaking part 1. It felt like a remake of part 1.
Kind of did, yeah.
Yeah, with a Hispanic kid.
Yeah.
And getting the car, and the car was what, the Jazz or what it was? No, Pete Davidson, the other guy, whatever.
Yeah, it was a mirage.
G.I. Joe tie-in that's gonna go nowhere.
Yeah. I'm like, bro, that boat sailed, bro. You guys are still with that?
I watched a little bit of Snake Eyes when
Oh, I did too. It was terrible.
and I didn't see the whole movie. I stopped it after like 20 minutes. I couldn't watch it.
Same here.
I
And that
saw
was a
like
while
Mortal
ago. I
Kombat.
remember
Like, I
I
was
took a
watching the
peek and I
whole
was like, this shit sucks.
and I fast forwarded through. They show him at the end only, like literally at the end. At the very end, he has the suit on. Like the end,
And then he takes it off and it's Nick Cage and he's like, a snake eyes.
that would have been better.
That would have been better.
It literally is him like, you are now Snake Eyes. It's like Man of Steel ended where he flew up.
Yeah, like anybody gives a fuck. Snake eyes.
They messed up. They messed up. I mean, that could have been a big thing. I liked the first one as a guilty pleasure, you know, Steven Summers movie. I didn't like the one with
Yeah, because I felt like it was more fantastical, like the cartoons.
yeah, it's a big fat cartoon. It's ridiculous. The end was submarines and all this CGI and the,
Except they fucked it up with Cobra Commander. That was a horrible.
well, because it was they did the prequel thing and then Cobra, and at the end, it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which I like him, but
Not
I
as
don't
cool.
like Cobra. And then
Actually, the one they did after that, Retaliation or whatever the hell it's called.
the one with the Rock, they try to fix it, and Cobra looked like Cobra, but the rest of the movie sucked.
No, but I feel like it had a better vibe to it. It was a
It
little
was-
more.
the second one was basically just like a modern military movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was very Fast and Furious-ish.
So, anyways, that was creepy. And it looked like the Yorona walked behind you. Yeah. What you looking at, woman?
Shush it.
Sound like Mr. T and Rocky. Hey, woman. Come get with the real man, woman.
Speaking of bombs, you didn't watch Mission Impossible 7 yet?
No, I haven't. I want to see it though.
I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it in other means.
Is Tom Cruise at Sunset Place?
No, I wasn't there. But, you know, I did hear that Tom Cruise is incredulous, man. He's actually the rumors that they're gonna put it back in IMAX theaters. He was so pissed because the Oppenheimer took over. Someone fucked up because that's all ahead of time. They should have known that. You heard about that, right? Like he got upset because Oppenheimer had
Too close of a release to them.
Oppenheimer's deal was complete saturation of all IMAX theaters. That was the deal they made with Nolan.
Right.
So I guess when Tom Cruise's people made the deal, they weren't aware of that. And he realized, like, right before the movie's coming out, that he only had a week before he could not be on IMAX anymore contractually. And he tried to call and try to muscle his way in, and they said no.
Why? They can't have two movies at the same time?
They made a deal with Oppenheimer to have all the
To have them
screens.
in there? Oh.
They made a deal with them, yeah, ahead of
That's
time.
Hollywood, baby. Backstabbing some bitches.
Oh no, yeah. Usually you can have two movies, but they made a deal to be completely.
Get them out. We
So then
need
Tom Cruise was like, "Shit, I can't get IMAX." So apparently, according to what I read, he started calling all the other large format theaters. You know, not the IMAX, but RPX, Dolby, all the other ones that cost more, trying to secure a deal, but it was too late. So after a week, he was out, and I heard the rumors he's trying to go back to IMAX.
Like, you know what he should do? If he does that, bring it out for Christmas. That's when people like to go to the movies and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
Thanksgiving time.
it should have come out on Christmas. The thing is, I saw the movie. I saw it not even in the theater. It was really good.
No, I'm sure it was good.
I
The-
think
it was good.
what hurt it was, of course, no one could predict that Barbie would be so huge.
So stupid, bro.
It's unbelievable.
That's how society is now, bro. That's the type of shit that makes all the money. You're like, really, bro?
I know, and you know, and then we saw it on bootleg, and it's not a bad movie, but I feel like all the people are like, "Wow, this is so amazing!" It's like I've seen this shit before. It's called Truman Show. It's literally like Truman Show mixed with Lego Movie.
What are you talking about, Barbie?
Yes,
Oh, wow.
it's the same thing. It's like Truman Show where she finds out that it's not real, and
Ah,
she has to like realize what it is to be a real person. It's kind of like that mixed with Lego Movie, where people are playing with her, but it's not what you think. It's not kids.
pedophiles?
Anyway, but you know, people are like, "Oh, it's so smart! It's so smart." I was like, "Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of the Brady Bunch movie." I know this sounds funny. It's like the Brady Bunch movie. Remember how that movie was like they're
Fish
in
out of water.
yeah, they're all like cheesy and no one understands it. The movie's like that. It's like
Hmm.
Barbie world, then a lot of the movies not even in Barbie world, which they don't she comes out to the real world and everything's
Right.
and she can handle it. And then when she goes back to Barbie world, she brings change with her. I
Mm.
don't know where it's going.
Messiah comes back.
It's very heavy-handed though.
Hmm.
It's not like, oh, that was subtle, like RoboCop satire.
Yeah.
This shit is like the movie stops for like 10-minute monologue where a character is literally talking about how a woman cannot compare to Barbie.
Oh God.
So you're in or you're out. So that's
Ah.
what it is. So obviously most of America likes it. But Mission Impossible 7 was really good. Watch it when it comes out on Blu-ray soon, on DVD, whatever. Um, it I think what hurt it is a part one. I think people were tired of it, the part one thing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because Fast and Furious was a part one. The Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man animated one was a half a thing. This movie has an ending. It doesn't end like in the middle where you're like, huh? But it has a Lord of the Rings ending where all the characters separate,
Okay.
and then you assume they're gonna reunite it. You know, they all at the end of the movie, they all the bad, you know, the main bad guy is still out there, and
Yeah.
they'll have to do their own thing, and then we'll see you again. Maybe we won't see you again. So it kind of leaves you hanging like that.
And
But
now
it was really
Rebel
good.
Moon is doing the same shit. It's a
I saw the
two-parter.
trailer. I mean, the trailer looked good.
I
I'll
mean,
give
all
it
his
a shot.
trailers look good.
All his trailers are good. I know it was an ex Star Wars pitch he
Yeah.
had. I think he's fucking ballsy as fuck because there's some shots that's straight up Star Wars.
Oh yeah, lightsabers and everything.
Oh, because it has smoke on it, it's okay. Some
Mines
of
are
it
fire
reminded me of
sabers.
Alita. Some of it reminded me of Alita. When the robots are fighting Alita, that girl robot and the other robot, it kind of reminded me of Alita.
Hmm.
So we'll see. You know how it is. His movies are gonna look good. Let's see if it has
Yep.
substance.
Streaming on Netflix.
That's his
I think
go-to.
one comes out soon and the other one comes out like in November.
But when you watch Seven, it's good. And the bad guy, you heard like the bad guy, what the bad guy is. Do you care? The trailer kind of shows it. It's AI. AI is the bad guy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they do a good job. It's like a modern version of like Eagle Eye and Enemy of the State,
Okay.
where they're doing it.
It's going rogue and taking over shit.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
been
basically
done.
Skynet. Yeah, it's Skynet shit. But they
Yeah.
do it pretty good. Where it's it's modern, so it's all like internet based and voice stuff. There's times where like it will call a character and manipulate their voice because they
Yeah,
can't.
that's realistic shit. That's shit that they do
Yeah,
probably
so it's
already. Yeah,
done really
that's
real.
crazy.
There's a scene where a character is telling Tom Cruise to go somewhere. He's giving him the wrong directions on purpose, and he doesn't realize. And he realizes by something they said that it's not the actual person. Like shit.
Uh,
It's
that's
like
scary.
the
Scary shit.
opening scene is really cool. It's like the beginning of the Abyss. It's a nuclear submarine doing a top secret test,
Hmm.
and the AI is sentient, but the mainframe is controlled by these keys that look like a cross. You have to slide them together and they light up. It looks like an Indiana Jones thing,
Hmm.
like a golden key with like lights that on it, and that actually controls like the server. And then the opening scene is uh an American sub doing a test, and the system itself fucks with them like Hunt for October. It says that there's a missile coming, and they do a diversive move, and they shoot their own missile, and then the Phantom missile disappears, and they end up blowing themselves up with their own missile, just
Oh
like
shit.
Hunt for October. They're like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
"Come back," and they can't turn it off. Like the whole thing set them up to kill themselves.
That's
That's like the
cool.
whole opening scene, and it's all stemming from that nuclear attack. And the bad guy wants the key. They have the key. They don't even explain what the key does. But all the train shit at the end is good. It's like an hour long. Like the whole ending.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the one from part one, the train scene from part one on the subway,
Hmm.
but just like expanded to like a bunch of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, of course.
And it's very Indiana Jones too. There's a lot of scenes are just like Indiana Jones. The whole train fight with the bad guy on the roof is just like Indiana Jones,
No,
except
yeah.
it looks real. It looks more
He's
real.
doing it for real, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some CGI in the movie because there's some scenes when they're on the train. You know, there's no way they can film that fight scene not from a helicopter. When they're on the train, it has to be blue screen because you know the camera guy is there,
Yeah, yeah.
and you can tell. You know, you can tell there's blue screen close-ups, but a lot of the stuff looks good. Looks good. I think you're gonna like it.
How am I gonna do this thumbnail, bro? Indiana Jones with Ethan Hawke and like Ethan
You should do it.
Ethan Hawke from Black Phone and Ethan from Mission Impossible.
You should get like the stupidest picture of Indiana Jones: Dial of Destiny. There's that picture of him going like this. You know what I'm talking about? Him,
Yeah.
and you should crack it in half, and you should have like the Black Phone guy, and then Tom Cruise, and then Ethan Hawke in the middle,
You're gonna be like, what the fuck is this guy
and then
talking about?
Barbie. You should have everything because you know that works. I click on shit on YouTube. I'm like, this is not even nothing what I'm watching. Totally trick you.
Oh shit! So let's start wrapping it up for this one.
All right, so like Narciso said, soon we're gonna do some Halloween episodes. Maybe we should. You said for maybe we should the. I really want to see that Dracula movie. Maybe that should be a segue.
Yeah, the meter movie.
Halloween.
I want to see it.
That would be a good one.
Yeah. We'll
Maybe
have some stuff coming up.
We'll maybe try something different. Like, you know, everyone does the original, all those horror movies that everyone does. Maybe do new shit. So we're not biased, you know?
Hmm.
Or go down that rabbit hole you did about cursed films and do something on that level of
That's
talking
another thing I've
about.
been watching, and I'm thinking of doing something on those cursed films. Docu-series are fantastic, man.
Yeah, and then they're technically Halloween. We can put our 2 cents in it and, you know, about cursed films and about movie rumors and just have fun with that. It could just be one episode. It doesn't have to be everything.
Yeah. We'll do some stuff. I got a lot editing to do, bro. I got a couple episodes that I'm working on and some.
You finished the the one you showed me that you were
Not yet. That's the one that's taking a long time. So
a
much
lot of
shit.
work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So
Cool. I'm
we got
excited
stuff
for it.
coming. There's stuff in the pipeline.
All right, cool. All right, sounds good.
All right, David, let's wrap it up.
Wrap
Episode
it up.
8.
I'll go by that. Episode 8. Hold on, let me stop this.